Good morning. So let us discuss this question of the day, that is, extreme justice is often injustice. Do you think extreme harsh punishments will improve our score on criminal justice delivery and reduction of crime? So suggest measures to decrease the juvenile delinquency. So when I framed this question, my answer in mind is this. I want you to talk about it is the law enforcement and reliability of punishment that decreases the crime rather than the harsh punishments. That is the first point. It means government, by resorting to the harsh punishment, it is providing for a response or a temporary respite to the popular demand of the people. And the proportionality of the justice to the crime committed. It means any punishment, it shall not be excess to the crime committed. And the third thing is, any harsh punishment will increase the powers of the state and it may curtail the liberties of the people. It means people themselves are placing the power in the hands of the state. So these 3 points I want you to talk about. So with regard to the first point, harsh punishments, the pota, tada, you can take as examples. And sometimes harsh punishments may lead to misuse. You can talk about SCST, Prevention of Atrocities Act, and also a Dowry Prohibition Act, etc. And finally, the second part of the question talks about measures to reduce the delinquency. Now, if we carefully observe this way, one is education. And what are the causes of delinquency? Because majorly abuse, poverty, and a lack of proper environment for growth. This is what we need to stress. So in this context, educational opportunities, you can link it to right to education. Prohibition of child labor, you can talk about that. And medical and psychiatric care, you can talk about that. And the adults who are pushing the children towards the crime, that also you can talk about how the state can prevent adults pushing people towards the crime. So finally, we can say that any maturity of the society or something kind of a moral statement, it depends upon how it can reform, rehabilitate and reintegrate the people who are beyond the law into the framework of the law. So harsh punishment alone cannot do that. In that way, I can close the answer. So this is how my framework of answer is. Now from this perspective, let us verify the different answers which we are discussing over here. So let me start the discussion on Surabhi's answer over here. Now the first demand of the question is, always remember this, it is about heinous crime. I am not talking it in the context of juvenile justice or else in the context of juvenile delinquency. Any harsh punishment, or they are good or not. Now most of the students, what they are talking is, or what they try to write is, they confine their talking or discussion to the juvenile delinquency. When I framed that question, the juvenile delinquency is not just in my mind. I have something called as the capital punishment. I have pota tada. I have juvenile delinquency. Various laws in my mind. But you can see Surabhi's answer. Yes, this is a very good answer for me. Now in the starting of the answer, she tried to restrict her scope of the question to the juvenile delinquency. And from the here onwards, most of the answer, it is related to the juvenile delinquency. So that is UN Child Rights Convention. And also with regard to the present law, she tried to write the answer. So probably it is not a convenient answer for me and it's a deviation. And the good part of her answer is the recommendations she gave. Generally, whenever the recommendations are asked for, I try to give the suggestions in a point format because they will directly hit the answer. So, here the answer is good for me. The starting is something deviated from the question because it did not hit the answer. Now coming to the Anand Kumar answer, I think there is much bigger problem in this answer. The reason is he has only confined himself to the juvenile justice law and did not did not give any recommendations. Now, the best answer I can say, the good answer is this. Now, if you compare the Surabhi's answer with NKR's answer, so NKR answer has directly hit the this thing. So, without taking into context, see here carefully. So, he was talking about the certainty of punishment directly has entered into the answer. So, the certainty of punishment is more important than the punishment or harsh punishment. And the best part here is he has taken the Malaysia as an example over here. So, in Malaysia, harsh punishments were there, but they did not decrease the crime. Actually, they have enhanced it. So, that's example giving is one thing which fetches the marks to you. So, with regard to NKR answer, I tried to take this particular point into my answer writing. Now, let's go to the Urshita's answer. And she has improved a lot with regard to her starting paragraph. If you compare her previous answers with today's answer, she has improved a lot. So, extreme are based on the tenets of instilling the fear to prevent the crime. So, moral and ethics, the society has to be built on a positive concept. Extremely good point. So, it means how she has started is directly hitting the question. So, this is one thing which I loved in this answer. So, the first rule in presenting an answer is you have to localize the question. So, what all the different topics this question can touch. And taking as broad perspective as possible in the general studies, that will improve your presentation. Now, further to this, with the Monica's answer, now she started with an quotation, an eye for an eye will leave the whole world blind. Now, this kind of answer writing will be useful for me more in the case of an essay, but to what extent I can be convenient with this in general studies, I have my doubts. So here, in this case of Monica's answer, an eye for eye, this is okay, this part is okay. But it takes more number of words to enter into the answer. I better suggest the students to directly enter into the answer. But the part of the answer which I did not like, it is related to the conclusion. So in the conclusion of the answer, she tried to convey something but failed to convey that in the least possible number of words. Almost she took 60 to 70 words to explain one single point. Instead of that, you can directly hit the answer and what you want to say. Don't try to roam around. Just give your answers direct. That makes a big this thing. So this is my thing for today's question. So what we have to do? The learning point. You need to start the answer directly relevant to the question. I like the Urshita's answer and NKR's answer with regard to this context. And Monika's answer, yes, it has a problem, that is, she tried to derive the answer from a statement. Probably this derivation approach, you need more number of the words. And wherever recommendations are necessary, try to give them in a point format because you can directly hit the answer. So these are the learning points for today's video. Thank you very much.